Hold on. Okay. So, hello, Dr. Sun. I'm Melania.
I'm Rayanne.
I'm Liam, and we're sorry that Nisa cannot be with us today.
So,
Nice to meet all of you. And you know, like my name there, right? Do you see my name? Oh,
yeah.
awesome. So my name's Sun.
Yeah, so thank you so much for taking the time to talk with us. As you may know, we are the Learn STEM podcast group who go deep into STEM with a variety of topics. We are so excited to have you. Before we get to the questions, can you please introduce yourself?
Of course, yeah. So you want your side introduce first, or you want me introduce first?
Just like give us a little introduction of who you are, just for our listeners.
All right. So put up on. I'm gonna say good evening, everyone, right? Because it passed 6 p.m. already.
Mm-hmm.
So my name's Sun, and I'm an assistant professor at Hollins University, where Mila spent the summer camp with me, and that's how we know together.
Yes.
And I'm in my 4th year at Hollins. So I'm teaching organic chemistry, biochemistry, pharmaceutical chemistry, and sometimes related to the medicinal chemistry. And I also holding the research at Hollins. And back to 2015, I got my PhD at Tufts. So hopefully everyone heard about the Tufts before, like in Boston. Yeah, so I got my PhD in organic chemistry, and then I moved on to my postdoctoral chemistry at UMass Medical School to complete my postdoc over there, and then I moved to Holland. That's where I am at 2018. And now here I am.
Thank you. So the first question I have for you is, what is a day in the life like for you?
Actually, so I'm okay. So Mila, you see, and everyone, you still see I'm here, right? So it means sometimes I'm gonna be here up until like 8 or 9 or 10, depending on how much material how much work I have to be done. So my time usually I wake up like at 5, sometime earlier.
Yeah.
And don't be surprised if I be here at 3 a.m. in the morning or 4 a.m. in the morning to do the work. Yeah, and then like my class, usually my class starting at 8 o'clock in the morning. So definitely I have to be here early to prepare for the work. And then like teaching and having the break at noontime, and then go back to teaching again.
Mm-hmm.
And then usually I leave my work around like 5 or 6, but sometimes I need to stay longer and come back home, taking care of my kid together with my wife, and spend the time with my kid because she just attending her the pre-K school. So she need a lot of attention in terms of learning. Yep, and we go to bed around 11. My kid definitely she go to bed earlier than I do.
Yeah, that's a really long day.
It is. I know it's a bad habit when I say like usually I only sleep for 5 to 6 hours or even less. But I believe I'm not recommend everyone do what I'm doing right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how my daily life. Yeah.
Okay.
My question is, for like anyone listening, what would you like tell them about your field if they're interested in like going into it?
Sure. Yeah. So basically, I'm teaching at my specialty is in organic chemistry. And then like as I said, I got my PhD training in organic chemistry and specialize in sugar chemistry. And sugar like a common name, but if when you heard about a fancy name, it's called carbohydrate. Yeah, and then I expand my knowledge in biochemistry and medicinal chemistry. So that way I focusing my field on right now. And for any of you, like if you're thinking about like going on chem major, like doing you're gonna go to the college, right? And doing a chem major, and I think like that's gonna be a wonderful decision. And what I'm saying, not because I'm teaching chemistry, right? But just because like just think about this. So chemistry, I'm gonna say like the central really much of everything. So just think about like the material around you, or even like the CO2 or the O2, right? Everything breaks down to the chemistry. So if you're learning chemistry, that kind of like open up for you to so many doors out there. For example, with the chemistry, you don't limit yourself, like go for the PhD in another chemistry. You can go to the medical school or go to the pharmacy school. So with the chemistry major, it's gonna connecting to so many different pathways. Yeah, for me, I mean, right now, I feel like lucky that I decided to go for the chemistry and never regret that. Yep. And I hope that answered your question, Rian.
Thank you.
Yeah, my next question that I will ask you, like it kind of plays off of that. So like, let's say that if someone has an idea and want to go into the field of chemistry, so do you believe that like new and sometimes expensive technology is required for like going in deep to the study of chemistry? Like, because I believe that you talked about in one of your articles about how you use like a tandem mass spectrometer, which is like crazy big equipment. So I want to know, like, you think that really expensive equipment is needed?
Liam, that's a very good question. So let me give a little bit background about the article you read. So that article, I mean, that the work I done at University of Massachusetts Medical School, and that where I spent 3 years over there to do my postdoctoral work. And that a big university, and with a lot of funding and very famous, with one of the scientists won a Nobel Prize. And with that, like I'm gonna say they have very well equipped with so many equipment over there. And now go back to your question, like I mean, do we really need the expensive technology to do the chemistry? And I'm gonna say like um I mean, like we in the 21st century, I mean, like the technology have been blooming, have been developing so much, right? Every single day. But the thing about back to the old day, when the scientists never having like a mass spec, they did not having NMR, but there's so many inventors, I mean, what I say, like inventory, have been developed, have been discovered, right? And now we asking that question like, okay, at that time they did not having the expensive technology, how did they achieve their results and their research? So that's gonna help answer my question a little bit. What I'm gonna say this, I mean, like technology, that's gonna be a big plus for you to study chemistry, but that should not be the main or the critical factor to decide the fate of your research or your study. And back to where I'm working right now is that like, I'm working at Hollins. So Hollins is very wonderful, like liberal arts university. And at chemistry department at Hollins, we having some equipment. And of course, like comparing to the other research institute, we might not having like the expensive material, I mean like equipment, for example, like the 500 megahertz NMR, right? Or the very expensive SPLC, but we still doing the research over here. So what it means is that like when we come up with a study, with the research, we need to make sure like we be able to use or utilize whatever we having at home. And don't forget to collaborate to collaborate with another big university, so you can go over there and then like using their expensive equipment. Yeah, so again, like back to the bottom line gonna be, yes, that a big plus to have the expensive equipment, but the one should decide your study and your work gonna be yourself and the person doing that.
Yeah, thank you for that answer. That's a really good take on it.
Thank you. Try my best.
So I believe I read that you moved here from Vietnam in 2004. Is that correct?
You have such a good memory, Mila.
Yeah. So I was just wondering, how did school in Vietnam differ from school in America?
I think overall, like the purpose of it is the education for everyone, right?
Mhm.
But the way the schooling system might be a little bit different. I'm gonna say I spent my elementary school, middle school, and high school, and then I spent 2 years in college in Vietnam. And then I moved to the US and continued with my study. So I think like one of the biggest difference is that like For example, I'm gonna chat in like we still having the 4-year college system over there, but one of the big difference is that like the way people conduct like the classes and how the class have been handling. Yeah, so over there in Vietnam, like I'm gonna say, like when you're done with the high school, you need to decide what you want to do with your future career right away. Because after you finish high school, you're having the very difficult and very challenging entrance exam to the college.
Yeah.
And if you pass it and you got enough score, you go to the college. And if you don't, you have another chance to wait another year, right? But in the US, you're gonna have it. I mean, the education currently opening for everyone who really want to do the study. And then we got so much like assistance from the government in the US, for example, like financial aid. Yeah, so for my story, like I come here in 2004 and I spent like 2 years at the community college. Yeah, so community college, like it very, at that time, it very well fit for myself. And that kind of the beginning of my study and checking like me to where I am now. Yeah, so that I think that one of the biggest difference, one of the biggest difference between Vietnam and the US in terms of the educations. But again, the bottom line, they still be the same in a way that like education for everyone.
Yeah. I just think it's so interesting how you went to community college first and then a 4-year college, because we're also worried about going to like Harvard right now, like straight from high school. So it's nice to have someone who like is a professor and it's still went to community college at some point and like worked their way up.
Yeah, I'm gonna follow you after this. So I mean like so for me, like because when I first come to the US from Vietnam, right? And then like I don't, I mean, to believe or not, like at that time, I did not know much about the educational system in the US. So for me, like community college, that kept like a very easy beginning for me. And from there, I know, okay, done with 2 years in college, community college, spend another 2 years, transfer to the 4-year college to complete my bachelor. So, I mean, like doing the degree, there's so many different pathways.
Yeah.
There's so many different pathways. If you can go to Harvard up here, what you're thinking, right? That's great, right?
Yeah.
But then again, like from A to B, you can go straight, or you can do in a curve, or you can do different curve, as long as like you be has strong passion and determination on it. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
That's really like comforting to hear.
Yeah.
I wanted to ask, when you moved here, did you want to go into teaching right away, or did you have jobs before it, like any major jobs?
Actually, okay, so that's very long story. That's very long story. So I'm gonna say like when I first came to the US, I did not really think I'm gonna go for teaching, to be honest. Yeah, so the one I have in my mind, I want to be a medical doctor. Completely different pathway of where I am right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, so when I got started off with my community college, I decided to go for the medical doctor at one of the field like I really interested in, and I was major in biology. And believe it or not, like chemistry never in my radar. I took it because that's a requirement, but it's not really something like I was so interested in at that time. But then like my life, I feel like it's just like a drama or the movie with so many twists. And then like one day I said, oh, no more biology for me. So I decided to go for the chemistry, and the main factor of that change is the organic professor I took at community college. He's so like inspiring me and made me feel like I really want to be like him, like to have the impact on the other student. So that was the reason I decided to switch my major and direct me to where I am right now. And if you're asking me like, do I want to go back to medical school? I'm gonna say like, I think I'm happy at where I am. Yeah.
Good.
And so, I mean, another thing, like I might be like the chat home lesson for everyone that like, I mean, when you go do anything, make sure you have plan, right?
Mhm.
But then like plan change, don't be nervous. Don't anxious about it. Just find a way to work around it and make your life better.
I think we all needed to hear that right
Yeah.
now.
Like when you were in when you're still in biology, like how far did you get into it when you made the switch into chemistry?
At community college, I complete. Actually, I took 3 months on the requirement to go to like the very initial requirement to go to the medical school. So I did my general biology, I did my IMP, human anatomy, and I did microbiology. So very much like almost the requirement to complete my associate degree in biology. And then like when I go to the 4-year college, that's where I change my mind and decide switch to chemistry, because like the second half of the 4-year college, that's where you really need to nail down your major. You need, because you don't have time. I mean, you're able to change your major, yes, but then changing the major about like 3 or the 4th year, it's gonna be really time consuming, and that might take you a little bit more longer time to complete your study.
Mhm.
So I mean, like knowing what you want to do at early as soon as possible, and know if you need to make change that as fast as you can. Absolutely, like carefully think about it.
Okay.
Okay, kind of like playing off that idea. For my next question, like because like you know that you have this like interest in chemistry as you've been talking about, like, but what like makes you like really want to research specific topics over other topics that like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why do you choose like some things to research over like the vast majority of other things that are in chemistry?
Yeah, so I think like one of the reason I choose the topic than the other one, because it basing on my expertise. Yeah, that I mean like, because like, so I got my PhD again. I got my PhD in the organic chemistry, and then I expand my knowledge in the biochemistry and medicinal chemistry. And during the time I doing those work, I feel like so interested in it, and that is the driving force for me. Like at Harlan, I want to do something related to those subjects. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, again, like I do something I feel like I comfortable with it,
Mhm.
and of course, like open up for any new field. Yeah, but my comfort zone there.
Okay. Has there ever been like a vested personal interest, like maybe like a different like thing in chemistry that like has affected you in some way that you've ever wanted to delve deeper into?
Yeah, I mean, like one of the thing I'm having. I think one of the reason I choose the project, and so it kind of like personal related. Yeah, so for example, like my family members, having like the, for example, like the RI disease, and then having like the gout disease, and having like the kidney problem. And I mean, spending the time with my family and go through so many difficult time with the family, and that inspired to myself. And I had a question like, why it happening?
Mhm.
And that one very much like the main reason, like driving force for me to explore what I'm doing.
Okay, that's great to know because like I know it's always easier to like research something that you're passionate about.
Yeah, yeah, I mean, when you do something, even though like for your future work, right, you do something you feel love about it,
Mhm.
because like you're gonna do that for a long time, so much sure you feel you like that. Yeah, if you
Mhm.
don't, and then at one day you can say, okay, I'm too exhausted, let's stop
Mhm.
right there, right?
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, speaking about loving your job, what do you love most about your job, or what is the most rewarding part of it?
For my job, so at Harlan, like we did so different activity. We do teachings, and then we are doing research, and we doing like the community service. So I'm talking about like the teaching and the research. So in teaching, I feel like the moment I feel like the most proud of is, the most I feel like I choose being teaching is the right way. The right job for myself. that like you see the student have been transformed from very shy and very quiet student and become more active and more independent and more confident about herself. So one of my students, and I don't think I'm gonna never forget her. Like I met her in 2018, like the time I'm teaching at Holland. And at that time I see she go in my organic class and she really quiet. She really quiet and she not in camp measure at all, but she still chatted. And she very quiet, very shy, and very. I mean, like not someone like you feel like that student what's going on. But then like the more I talk to her, and then the more I understand her, and so I want to help her to open up herself. And then one day, like she sent me a message, and she just say one single thing and made me feel so proud of myself. I'm sorry, I'm saying it. So she said, like, you inspire me and made me want to do camp measure. And that relate back to the story I shared with you, like the reason I changed my camp, my bio to the camp, because I want to have a hard, like impact on somebody else. And of course that is positive impact, right?
Yeah.
And at the professional, like I follow the footstep. Yeah, so that when I received that message, I feel like I said, oh my God, like it made my day like so special on that day, and I cannot never forget. And right now, see, I graduated, and she on the way to do her study in the medical school.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're gonna see like a huge transform from someone you're gonna never think like she's gonna go to the medical school, right?
Mhm.
Now see there. So that's very proud moment when I see it. And then now talking about the research that like I mean right now I gonna share this story with you that like, right now I'm having 3 students doing the research with me. And just yesterday actually that so today Monday, right? Just remind me. So it's not yesterday, it was Saturday. So Saturday so we all went to the another university to compete. Participate in the competition. And believe or not, like we went there with 2 different posters, and one of them in the biochemistry field, and the other one in the sugar, like carbohydrate field. But both of them were put into the medicine field. The reason because I'm one of the judges of the biochemistry, and I cannot judge my own student.
Yeah.
So it still work, right? And then you know what? By the end of the day, one group, one poster won the first prize, and the other one got the honor mention. And you know what? Like seeing my student up there to receive the honor mention and receive the award, and made me feel so proud of their work.
Mhm.
And again, like all the credit go to my wonderful student.
That's
Yeah.
amazing. Is that research the one with the pink dye? Remember, like it was stained everywhere, or was that a different one?
Actually, that one.
Yeah, I remember walking into the lab and like there was just pink stuff all over the place.
Yeah, it's beautiful pink, right? But it hard to clean. It
Yeah.
hard to clean. Yeah, that is the one won the first prize.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah, very. And I mean, like, again, like, I'm so happy for the student, and now they have a stronger motivation to move on, because we plan to like next year we're gonna go to another meeting in University of Richmond to presenting their work.
Mhm.
It sounds like a really rewarding career. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, I love the job I'm doing right now. Yeah.
And you're teaching at Holland, right?
Yeah.
So what do you think is something that Holland offers that you don't think other colleges do?
Yeah, that a very good question, and apparently that the question like usually students ask the most. So I'm in a member of the EAC, that the Enrollment Advisory Committee member, and usually every single year like we interview the student for the scholarship, and apparently that the question they ask very much the same thing as what you're asking now. So the one I'm telling the student this. So for the online Holland, that the Liberty, that the liberal university, and it's small comparing to another university, for example, like VTech, right?
Mhm.
But then like when you're in the small university, you're gonna, for example, in my class, in the OChem class, I'm having like 25 to 35 students. I think that perfect size for me. So every single student will be able to get the attention from the faculty. And it's very, very important. It's very, very important because like when you go to the study, you want your professor know how you're doing. If you're doing well, that's great. If you're not doing well, I mean, the professor there will assist you. And with the small size of the class, and I think like that's very, very helpful for the student. And also like not talking about the and talking about outside the classroom, like we have very friendly environment. And what I mean is that like the student, like you can see like the people smiling everywhere and people very friendly and willing to help you. And for myself, like when I joined here at 2018, and of course like I was new at that time, right? But then like and after like few months after I joined Holland, I feel like okay, this is a perfect place for myself. One the reason because like the faculty at the chemistry department and all other department nearby, they were so friendly, they so welcoming, and they so helpful. And they kind of like my mentor and help me to move on up until now. So if for any of you out there, like if you had not decided where you want to go for your college, I mean like explore Holland and see that might be a good option for you or not, right? And we have so many programs for you to explore it. For example, like summer camp, the summer program, or even like you can just sign up for the day to having a tour. And we're gonna welcome you with the what's say like with the best smile ever, right?
I like the sound of that, like how you said the small classes you can feel like more involved and like more important in them.
Yeah.
Okay, to like move it on. So because like we don't have the premium thing of Zoom, we only have like around 10 minutes left. So
You
I
should be
guess
able to see, like,
what?
can you see if in the top left corner it says the time left? It says 6:41.
So it remaining time 6 minutes 37 seconds.
Oh,
Yeah,
I see it now.
it's because we don't have school, like we don't pay for Zoom, so it has a time limit. So,
Understanding.
yeah. So yeah, do you want to ask your question, Liam?
Yeah, sure. So after I ask my question, I guess we'll go to Nisa's because we pre-recorded her questions. So basically for my question, it's kind of a short one. Like when you went into like college, like or when you were going to get your doctorate, was there anything that like surprised you? Like was there like a workload that like surprised you, or was like writing research papers something new and like crazy? Like I'm not sure like what it's even like because I haven't been to college, but what was something like was crazy that you would have never thought?
Yeah, I mean, you're gonna have so much surprise, believe it or not. It never ends until you defend your work. Yeah, so many surprises. So when I finished my 4 year college, and then I move on right away to the PhD program. And the one surprised me the most that is like the workflow. Like and then the school clothing. So you have to check the coursework. In the meantime, you need to doing the research. And so I did my research at undergraduate. And then like when comparing to the research at the PhD program, it's much more heavier, and it's gonna require you like have a strong commitment on that. So for my PhD, they usually coming at 6 or 7, and they are not get out until like 7 or 8 at night. So really much like most of my time gonna be in the lab, and that surprised me because I never think of it. And so the lesson I learned from myself is that I need to balancing your work, your study, and your personal life. It took a little while for me to learn that lessons.
Yeah.
Okay, let me screen share the audio. Yeah. Let's see.
Was there any specific person who sparked your love in chemistry?
I'm sorry, can you repeat the question again?
Yeah, let me play it again.
Was there any specific person who sparked your love in chemistry?
is there any specific thing like sparking my love for chemistry?
Yeah, that's
And
it.
okay, so just go back to my story, mainly because like just because I want to follow the footstep of one of the inspiring professor when I studied at community college, and that is the main key factor affecting my decision.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I just want to add in a little bit there, saying why do I want to do at him, because you know what, like I having the bio class at 8 o'clock in the morning, and you know 8 o'clock like for myself like it's too early.
Yeah.
And the organic chemistry like around 10 o'clock, and the way he talk in the class like kind of cloud and keep you wake up. And they said like, okay, I need to wake up to study, and that's in there, and I feel like okay, that's very interesting to be like here. Yeah, just for some very, very funny reason, it can change your life.
Does anyone want to ask any last questions?
I'm good.
Okay. Thank you so much, Dr. Sun, for being here with us.
Oh yeah, Mila, anytime. And if you do have any question, I mean, we can have another Zoom, or you can forward like a message to me. And I would love to meet you again. And I hope to see at least like Mila and Rihanna at Harlan someday, right? And of course,
hopefully
Leah, you're welcome. I mean, Leah, you're welcome to visit Harlan as well to explore how beautiful the university is.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it would be.
You're very welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. And wish everyone best of luck with your study, and don't be shy. Don't be shy to reaching out if you need anything from my end.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.